Hello, Meoni here. Welcome back to another features video for patch 7.3. Today we are on our Viera alt, looking at a new feature exclusively to Viera, both male and female Vieras. 7.3 added the ability to wear a ton of new hats that they couldn't before, and that was one of the biggest things that was preventing people from playing Viera. If you remember, a while back I did a video, which I'll link in the description, of all of the headwear that they could wear. Literally every piece we could find that would work, and then anything else didn't work. Well, that has been changed. There are still some headpieces that do not work on Viera. This is supposed to be being added to as we go through the rest of this expansion and into the next, but they've made a massive change to that, and it's the better for it. Yeah, simply looking at the market board, you can see there's a good portion of things that still do not happen for Viera, but hopefully this changes, you know, stuff like the rain hood is still not visible, which is really quite unfortunate. And you've also got the New Year's stuff as well, like the Heavens Turn stuff, like all of the Kabutos. None of those seem to work either, which is, again, a bit of a shame. However, what I wanted to demonstrate in this video is the new features exclusive to Viera, both male and female, and that is in the new visor command. So as you can see, this is the Rena Sita hood of casting. It's just a level 9610 piece, but if you remember this headpiece, it has this mask. Now, originally there was a visor command to actually turn this on and off, and that's still here, but you'll also notice the Viera ears are actually poking out of the top of the hood, and this is something that some people do not like. This is one of the biggest contending points for whether or not Viera should have ears that just poke out of hats so they can wear them, or if they should just, hide the ears. Well, Square Enix seems to have given you the choice and just made it so you can wear the majority of the headpieces now. Because if we go into the bottom here, you'll see adjust headgear settings. Normally this is just a visor command and you would click it to actually change the visor, but now if you subcommand on this or click on it with your mouse, you'll see there's a tick box for manually adjusting the visor, but also there's another option. It says show ears through headgear. This applies to select gear only, and if we turn this off, basically you've got rid of the ears. It's a turn off button, so you can have what every other race has in the game in terms of this headpiece, just without the ears. This means that you don't get any ears poking through or any holes or anything like that. To me, there's two things about this, in my own personal opinion. One, she doesn't really look like a Viera anymore, in my opinion, and that's totally a choice that you might like. But at the same time, I don't know. I think I would prefer just having the ears poke out like that, and I think it's good to have the option, though. But I do think without the ears, I'm not a massive fan of this character. Don't know. But it is cool to see that essentially things that we never thought would be possible, for example, an extra button on one of our, character display options on the character window added to it. This is not something that they typically do. This is, we've asked for visor commands for other pieces of glamour before, like the ability to roll up sleeves or have alternate versions of different pieces of gear, but more than often we're just kind of ignored, or it's a thing that would take too much money. But it looks like they've invested time and effort and money, I guess, to make it so that Viera specifically have this option. It's a cool option. It is a cool option, and it's going to look better depending on what headpiece you like to wear, right? I mean, one of the biggest contending arguments for turning off ears on certain headgear is for this exact reason here with the straw capeline. As you can see, not every single piece of headgear is created equally, and it is literally just a change in a checkbox to make it so they can use the majority of these headpieces. Not everything has been tailored to make it look the best, as you can see here, so maybe this is the option where you would want to toggle your ears off. And that way you can get probably the most out of your headgear without disliking clipping, if that's something that annoys you. But again, there is the argument of, where have the ears gone? Are they folded up inside? That is the question, isn't it? And that's up to you to decide. But yeah, I think I'd probably still rather have these clipped through. But at least it's an option. I mean, there's a lot of hats like this. For example, this is a Doctor's hat, for example, the level 20 Disciple of Magic one. the ears just do not exist no matter what you press on this, but they can actually wear the hat. So yeah, it's up to you whether or not this is something that you want to wear, but realistically you could imagine the ears to be hidden inside the hat, I guess. But at least you could wear it. You can also make a macro if you don't want to do that yourself, and we're just going to call that Viera ears. And in fact, if we do /Viera ears, that's all that needs, and then plop that on a bar, you'll see that that will act as a toggle switch. So instead of having to go in there, if you don't want to click through those menus, if you want to demonstrate on different headgear, it's a positive change. But the biggest positive change out of anything is just the ability to wear the hats in the first place. That was, you know, the biggest issue with Final Fantasy XIV, incorporating new races that just simply couldn't wear the majority of the gear. So I'd like to see in the future more options available, obviously, but this is a great move in the right direction, and I think this patch alone, 7.3, is going to get a lot of praise from Viera players, or people who fantasiaed away after wanting to play Viera, such as my girlfriend for the longest time, and then realized that they couldn't really wear all of the gear. They got a bit upset about it and then went to like Mikote or something. And now I would imagine that the sale of Fantasias is probably going to go up. Although do not miss out on the free Fantasia that you can get in Old Gridania. If you go near Jonathas in Apkalu Falls, in 7.3 they added a new Fantasia at the Wandering Moogle. It's completely free, even if you got the previous ones from the other patches. And this new one will be available up until the release of 7.4. whenever that's going to be, in many months from now. So definitely pick that up and, you know, go back to Viera, I guess, if you want to, because a lot has changed for the positive. Like I say, not every piece of headwear has been changed to be Viera-able, but a good portion of them are. To the point where if I was to do a video on all of the headpieces Viera and Hrothgar could use, the likelihood is that that would be like a couple of hours long now, as opposed to 20 minutes. Anyway, let me know what you think about these changes. Are you back to playing your Bun, or have you already moved on from that and can't look back? Much love, enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.